Good evening, everyone. Hang on one second. Hang on one second. We gotta do a proper intro tonight. Can you hear me? Let's see if the audio's good. Good evening, everyone. Audio's good. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the King Leo Show. Happy Black History Month. We have the kente cloth on. Okay, we have it on. Can make this into a kufi, but I'm just gonna wear it as a sash. It's Black History Month. We are going to have the sash on for Black History Month. I love Heritage Months, as I've said in the past. I know we have right wing, left wing. Don't take offense. And if you do, leave. Okay, leave. I like to celebrate the Heritage Months, as I've said in the past. You guys want a White History Month to balance out, although I would prefer an ethnic thing, Polish History Month or something. We'll do it, but this is Black History Month, okay? We're out here in the kente cloth. We're doing a little kanging, all right? It's Black History Month, and I'm proud to announce that for the month of February, we're going to have a segment, okay, to celebrate Black history. We're going to look at someone every day who I think is interesting in Black history, which is, I'm not going to do the woke thing, all right? I'm not going to tell you some black guy invented the light bulb. All that stuff that came out in the 2010s was ridiculous, all right? As someone who actually cares about stuff like this, I'm going to look for cool people. So that's going to be our segment. We'll do it after our plugs. We're here early again, as usual. Let's look at our plugs, all right? You'll find in the description a link to our Discord server, which is free. There's also a paid version you can access through Patreon, okay? Patreon is $5 or $20 a month. We have 2 members now. Hell yeah, let's go. 2 members. Excellent stuff. I'm very happy with that. All right, that's the King Leo Movie Club. $5 or $20 a month. You can get it for 10 if you join the YouTube membership, but why would you do that? Just join the Patreon. It's $5 a month. You're smarter than me. And finally, we have the What Would a Postmodernist Do bracelet available. How is everyone doing tonight, man? It was a crazy weekend, huh? It was a crazy weekend. Wow, let's take this off for now. It was a wild weekend, man. This Epstein stuff is, I never really loved the story too much, but we have to talk about it today because there's some real repercussions now. And it's getting interesting. It is getting at least interesting. You can't deny that. It's getting interesting. Dude, this cloth is like some of it is green, so the camera is see-through. Shout out to all the black people, man. All the black Americans. None of the tethers, all right? Happy Black History Month, fellas. I'm happy for you. I want to do a segment, but I want to wait till 10. Listen, again, it's fun to do the Heritage Months, man. It's fun to honor people's ancestry, okay? It's fun to do it, all right? We'll do Hispanic Month, too. I can't guarantee we'll do Pride Month. Call Tucker Carlson if you want to see that. It's not really my bag. We can do Chinese Month for Chinese New Year. It is Chinese New Year this month, right? We'll do a Xi Jinping episode for that. So I hope that you enjoy Black History. All right, it's 10 o'clock. Let's start. Let's start with our first Black Hero of the Month. All right, let's play our title card here.
You have to think, young brother, about your future.
Take it from me, someday we'll all be free.
All right, we
You
have
have to think, young brother, about your future.
Sorry for the technical glitch there, all right? I think it's pretty good. It's pretty basic, but it's good. Let's watch it one more time.
You have to think, young brother, about your future.
Take it from me, someday we'll all be free.
We're doing the Black Person of the Day, all right? This is what we're going to do for the month. And as I said, I don't want to tell you a black guy invented the light bulb because that's not true, all right? We're not doing woke stuff. We're going to do stuff that I find interesting. It would be trite to say Malcolm X or something. You guys know that I like Malcolm X, all right? Or I guess Huey Newton wouldn't be trite, or Fred Hampton. But I want to start off the month light, because it's always so heavy. And this is somewhat of a heavy story, man, but for Black Person of the Day today, we have Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye is one of my favorite artists, all right? If you haven't heard any of the Marvin Gaye music, you haven't lived, All right. His best album ever was What's Going On. That's my favorite album by Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye was a musical genius. He was black, obviously. Otherwise, he wouldn't be the black person of the day. This man was killed by his father, unfortunately, in a dispute. It's very sad. We missed out on a lot. But for today, what I wanted to focus on is learning a little bit from lessons of how you doing, Audio Vibes. Year of the Horse. All right. Listen, let's get something of power out of these stories, okay? Let's get something of power. What was Marvin Gaye's most powerful attribute? A lot of people don't know this, dude. You might have heard, What's Going On, Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Sexual Healing. Not my favorite, actually. Not what I don't like that song. Not gonna lie, don't like it. One of his best albums called Hear My Dear. And that one is a crazy album because of the origin. Okay, the origin of Hear My Dear is that he was in a dispute, in a divorce, and the record label had him make. They had him on a contract for 3 albums, I believe, and he had to make 2 more, and half of the royalties were going to go to his ex-wife at this point. And he starts, putting some bullshit together. He's like, "Fuck this, dude. I'm not giving this bitch any money. Fuck this." You know what he did? You know what Marvin Gaye did? He got over the anger and he was like, "Let me make something good." And this album is a great album to listen to, dude. And he named it Hear My Dear. And there's an eponymous song on it. And it's just like the best divorce album you've heard in your life. When did you stop loving me? When did I stop loving you? And at the end of the day, Hear My Dear, here's this album. So Marvin Gaye, a great black person. I love Marvin Gaye. We will do more black heroes every stream this month, all right? How you doing, Mr. Elu? You got to tell us when Indian month is. Do some Indian thing. Be funny if we did Indian month and then it was like all Native American guys, right? But that is our black person of the day, all right, everyone? I hope you enjoyed this segment.
You have to think, young brother, about your future.
Take it from me, someday we'll all be free.
All right. So, happy Black History Month, everyone. All right. Let's get to it. We got to start with Schizo Watch. We have a lot to get through with this Epstein thing. All right. Shit, dude. Yeah, let's start with this. Start with something a little lighthearted, all right? So apparently we're getting the Indy 500 in DC. All right. There's AAPI month. All right, we'll do that. That's a cool one. I think AAPI, I was looking at the months. And I think AAPI month is the same as Jewish History Month, Jewish American History Month. But I think I would go with AAPI. AAPI are not highlighted much, But maybe we'll do like Jewish and AAPI month. We'll do Jewish Person of the Day, Asian Pacific Islander of the Day. It'd be interesting to do that. Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. You got The Rock. Who else? Rokana. All right. Let's get to it. Let's look at Donald Trump's call to bring the Indy 500 to Washington, D.C. Let's see how this event is going to look for the 250th anniversary of this country.
The fans have turned up in a huge way this weekend.
And it's quite simple. History.
We're in it to win it, bud. 10-4. 3, 2, 1.
And you can hear the crowd. History in the
This changes the game totally.
Yo, it's kind of cool though. It's kind of cool. This is so hokey, and you know I hate the hokey stuff. Look at how hokey, but it's kind of cool. That is kind of cool. That is kind of cool, huh? How you doing, Eves, my friend? It's kind of cool. I feel like a lot of people are gonna hate on it, you know. But you know, if we're going full Batista, you know, Batista tried to have a Formula One event, but Castro and the rebels messed that up. I think they kidnapped the driver. Might as well do this. It's kind of cool. You know, it's definitely not, it's definitely a lot of money that's being spent. You know, a lot of opulence. But it's pretty cool. I actually kind of like, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I wonder if they got the copyright for the Rolling Stones song. Start me up. Start me up, don't ever. That's I like that. I'm not a huge Stones fan, but that's a good one, you know. I think it's kind of okay. You know, it's kind of okay. He has the same. I see Eve's saying, yeah, he has the same taste in music as Martin Scorsese. Scorsese loves the Rolling Stones. How you doing, Ephra? Ephra says it's fantastically stupid. I get it can inspire to some extent, but if it is too much, population gets more return. It's definitely, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that happening in our next segment. We'll get to that. Let's go over here. Let's watch this. Let's watch here. My favorite, Andrew Schultz.
And look, I know I had Trump on the podcast, you know, and I'm aware.
Stop explaining that, man.
No, but let me just clarify, because
Okay.
I think it is important to say, like, I know how I had him on the podcast, and like, so when I'm talking out about this, I'm not doing it to, like, you know, get people to be like, oh, he's a good guy or whatever like that, or trying to get anybody on my side. I understand that this is a horrific event that happened. I objectively want to talk about it. I'm not trying to, like, win anybody over in this.
You understand? You know the difference between right and wrong.
There's a difference between right and wrong, and there's a difference between, like, respecting and honoring the Constitution, the backbone of our country, and then completely shredding it. And this is completely shredding it. And now they're realizing that people have noticed it, and now they're trying to backtrack it. But
By the way, he's been wiping his ass with the Constitution.
Sure,
Like,
and
I've been on record a million times saying, like, when he said we should terminate the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election, shit like that got to be disqualifying if you're running for president.
So here's a perfect example. So it's like, I know that there are people sounding the alarms about this. When I saw these last few weeks in Minnesota, I didn't think it was possible to happen in the United States of America. I'm being 100% serious.
To white people.
No, to anybody.
But
Now,
you've seen it happen to black people.
Exactly.
yes, like, to white people.
It's okay to say that.
No, I'm just
it
joking.
is.
No.
But it's okay to say that.
I don't. I mean, I didn't know that this was possible to happen in the United States of America. And what I'm specifically talking about with this situation here, and, like, not only this one, but also what we've seen ICE doing, like entering homes without warrants,
Yeah.
like arresting people.
Unconstitutional.
It is unconstitutional. And they've done this weird thing where, like, they have, like, a federally administrative warrant, which is some bullshit. It doesn't even allow you to actually have access into a home. Yeah, they're trying to find ways around the system. And what that says to me, when you're willing to shred the Constitution to preserve it's not only your power, but your ideas of what should happen, it is incredibly un-American.
Someone call Ketanji Brown Jackson. Someone call Amy Coney Barrett. It's time for Andrew Schultz and Charlemagne the God to be Supreme Court justices. This is such an elevated conversation that I don't think you can really understand how deep their legal knowledge goes. When I want to know what's going on with the Constitution, normally I would think, let's call, I don't know, let's call even Barack Obama constitutional lawyer, right? No, let's call the podcast guys. Let's call Andrew Schultz and Charlemagne the God. Andrew Schultz already went from endorsing a candidate who he says he completely regrets to now opining on the Constitution. I did not know that they taught constitutional law at clown school. Thank you, Andrew Schultz. No, obviously, this it should be in prison. Should be buried under the prison. Under the prison. Under the prison. Shut up. Stop. You already drove people nuts once. Why are you doing this? Why are you waiting? Dude, Andrew Schultz, can you drop the podcast on which version of TurboTax you should use? Because you must be a tax accountant too. Why don't you drop one about the best car? Because you must be a mechanic. These people don't learn to shut their mouth. Charlemagne the God doesn't get off easy either, okay? Charlemagne the God was buck dancing with Lena Dunham for Hillary Clinton. He does not have a political track record either. These are not the donkeys of the day. These are the donkeys of eternity. Dude, these people need to be tariffed. They need Donald Trump, if you can hear me, can you tariff Andrew Schultz personally? Please, Donald Trump. Please, just so maybe he will shut the fuck up. Please, Donald Trump. Please. These people, man. These people are animals. Effort says, did you see the Supreme Judge was probably installed intentionally by some powerful people based on the Epstein files? I did not see that one, Ephra. The one I want to talk about, and we'll talk about it later, is Peter Mandelson, the former UK ambassador to the United States. That one is fascinating. That one, I really want to get into that one, but I didn't see the one about Kavanaugh. That's interesting. I'm going to look into that. By the way, I think I have some memberships to give. Yes, we do. All right, cool. Let's send 5, and we'll send 5 more memberships. Hopefully, Full Hat gets one. Let's do that again. Send 5 more. Let's see who got them. Who got it? Doom Shop got one. Andrew got one. Just Jerry got one. Advanced Conspiracy Theory. All right. Well, sorry, Full Hat. Maybe he unsubscribed. All right, let's continue. All right. On the notion of Americans becoming increasingly retarded, I want to show here. I've met this guy. I met him once. I went to what was his name, dude? The Black MAGA rapper. He was actually a very nice guy. Bryson something. He was a very nice guy. He was doing a little concert here for the kids, and I was like, I'm gonna go check that out. Probably like 3 years ago. And I think this guy was there. He's from Miami. And I want to show you how low the intelligence of this country is getting. Retweet if you stand with ICE by Forgiato Blow 47. Let's watch him. I won't hate on the grift. Absolutely not. Let's watch a little bit of the American taste in music, which is at its peak.
White and blue.
United we stand, divided we fall. I'ma ride for mine, I'ma stand tall. We going to war right now, let's go. I stick to the script, I live by the code. Watch out for the enemy, they fake and they lie. I find where they stay, I'ma set it on fire. Never back down, keep your head up high. I represent for the stars and the stripes. Red, white, and blue, salute to the flag. I'ma go hard till I'm in a body bag. USA, we don't play. If you go against us, we gon' put you in the grave.
Red, white, and blue. I rap for the red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. I rap for the red, white, and blue. My patriots said the eagle flying. Real patriots never die. I got your 6 when the lights turn black. When the wolves close in, Forgiato got your back. I bleed for the red, I cry for the white. I back the blue and the stars and the stripes. 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 People ain't going out without a fight. I rap for the red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. I rap for the red, white, and blue. My patriots said.
That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. That I have Bruce Springsteen on my left, and I have Forgiato Blow on my right, and I just slam my head into the Xi Jinping plate. Just slam. Just it's insane. It's insane. What are we doing? He's a talented man. Okay. Same with Bryson. Bryson's a talented guy. What are we doing? What are we doing? The Stand with Ice song. Eves, I agree. It sounds, it doesn't even sound terrible, but I really wonder what AI George Washington would think of this. Someone get Glenn Beck on the line. Glenn Beck, Glenn Beck, what would George Washington AI that you have, what does he think of this? Is this what he envisioned at the Battle of Yorktown? Is this what he envisioned? I hope that the Chinese start putting out Chinese rap. Like, it would be funny. What's up, Beijing? And then it's just their version of Forgiato, face tattooed up, Jack Ma. And ni hao. I took some Mandarin as a kid. I don't remember any of it. My brothers. Music needs to get better, dude. I have been fed up with the state of music for a long time. But we're at a low, dude. We need to all step away from the political stuff. All of us. The musicians and all this. Charlie XCX is a hero for dropping that album. Because that was the last joy that I felt from music. Let's continue. This is a short one. I wanted to show you here Michael Franchese, who we've covered before. A thug. I would like Ilhan Oman, it says the Italian, to explain how she accumulated a $30 million net worth on a Congress salary of $178,000 per year in 3 short years. At the same time, her Somalian countrymen defrauded taxpayers out of billions in her state? Question mark. We the people are her employers. Tell us how. Mikey, you stole from the government. That's how you became rich. You're literally a thief. You are a thief. Mikey, you have been on the Patrick Bet David podcast. You have been on every podcast talking about how you scam the government out of gas taxes. You are a thief, a liar, and a thief. Who are you to say anything? Furthermore, I heard some people say, he's found God. That's why it's acceptable that this alleged murderer gets to tell us that clavicular is not a role model. Let he without sin cast the first stone, right? You are full of financial sin, Mikey, you are a sinful, degenerate gangster. You allegedly had people murdered. Who are you to call out Ilhan Oman? If it's good for the goose, it's good for the Somalians. Brother, dude, these people are crazy. And finally, because we're doing Black History Month this month, let's watch what Minecraft released recently. Let's see what Minecraft is doing. So what I'm wondering here is this. Minecraft is releasing the Edmund Pettus Bridge map with John Lewis. Do you get your ass beat in the virtual version, like in the real life version? Do the cops come in and beat your ass and throw a German Shepherd. There's wolves in Minecraft. A tamed wolf at you and fire hoses. Is that? Did they have to? So Malala, John Lewis, and Rosa Parks are getting their asses beat by pig-headed cops on the Edmund Pettus Bridge for Black History Month. We are doing it a lot. Our shit is a lot more respectful, dude. Black Person of the Day is better than this. Edmund Pettus Bridge beatings on the Minecraft. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Thank you, Eves. I appreciate it. Was it Minecraft made by a Nazis mystery? I'm not aware of that, sir. But if you were a Nazi or someone of, of the supremacist side, you would make it the Edmund Pettus Bridge, because this implies that you can also play as the cops. And you can beat John Lewis's ass on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. All right, that's enough for this. Let's get to the Goyim have gone insane.
The people are retarded.
Firstly, I want to start with this. It was hard on the right wing there to start. We're a balanced channel. This young man has made a name for himself, and I want to play some of it here so we can see that. I've seen a couple of these videos at this point. Let's watch what he has to say. This is the Alexis de Tocqueville of our time.
Hey, Anthony.
Yeah.
Did you hear that Greg Bovino got demoted?
The Nazi that's been running ICE for Nome?
Yeah.
Yes, it's nowhere near enough consequence for everything that he's done, but it is a good sign that the Trump admin is running scared.
Why is that?
Because they wouldn't have demoted him if they thought they no longer had to care about public backlash, right? The executions of Good and Preddy under Bovino's command has sparked a massive wave of anti-ICE sentiment nationwide, and especially Preddy's.
Why especially Preddy's?
Well, because on top of the outrage from the left over the inhumanity of his execution, it's also exposed a long-standing contradiction for the 2A crowd, who are typically Republicans, which is that if the cops, or in this case federal officers, can kill you just for carrying a firearm, legally or not, and then get away with it by claiming self-defense, you don't really have the right to bear arms.
This has 4,000 likes. This is a well-known young man. Okay, this young man here. Let's get this out of the way. Okay, this young man here is let me get these out here. Easy peasy. Look at that. This young man here is the Socrates of our time. Okay. Who wants to listen to a Redditor spurg out on them? Why would you want this? I don't care what he has to say. I don't. This goes on for another minute and 27 seconds. This slop, it's amazing. Have you ever talked to a Redditor? It's not an enjoyable experience. As someone who used to love film, I had to talk to a lot of Redditors, dude. It was a terrible experience. Why would anyone watch this? Why would anyone care? This is disrespectful. He can't look you in the eye. A human being makes eye contact with another human being when they have respect for you. If they're gaming while they're talking to you, they don't respect. But people like to be disrespected, it seems. People like to be pushed aside and no one cares about it. There's no other explanation. This kind of crap, I don't even know what it is. Is it to reinforce your position with Reddit talking points to get more Reddit gold? What is it for? You mean the Nazi who's been running ICE? I don't care what you have to say. Learn to look people in the eye. Let's continue, because it is not the only offender. Let's take a little break here from the political. This is Caleb. Caleb is this guy who runs this podcast where he interviews people on their financial situations. It's entertaining. I have no hate for Caleb. I see Molly here is saying that I love to swallow. All right, Molly, normally I wouldn't do anything here, but you're trolling. And I don't have a problem with that, but we're not using the N-word in chat during Black History Month especially. So you're going to be putting a timeout for 5 minutes. If you come back with more of those epithets, then it's going to be a problem. Reddit Gold is the currency of Reddit. It's how you become, I don't know, they get like badges or something on Reddit. If you get enough gold, you can trade it for badges. No N-words in the chat for Black History Month, okay? Well, let's watch here the states of the TikTok plebeian.
What is it?
He's spending a shit ton on only. Well, not f***ing her? Well, not being intimate with your... I'm sorry.
Nice to know. F you for that, I guess. After you've told me that, because I know he used to do that a long time ago. He said it was before we were together.
Oh.
Why wouldn't you? Like, I've told you can be honest with me about that stuff.
I feel like it's just something weird to be honest about.
Well, you don't even want to be with me?
No, it's not.
You told me you canceled
that.
it is the point. You told me you canceled it is the point.
Yes, and I did.
Then why do you have it?
Because I did another one.
Why? F you for that, honestly. Like, genuinely, f you for that. Because why would you lie to me about that when you don't even want to be with me?
I never said I didn't want to be with you.
Then why would you rather do it somewhere else than with me? That is you directly not wanting to be with me.
Not really.
So then what is it? Then what is it if it's you doing it and not wanting to do it with me?
I mean, I can get horny when you're not home.
But when I've asked you, do you do stuff like this in your spare time? You say no.
Yeah, because I don't do it all the time.
But not doing it all the time doesn't mean that you don't do it.
Listen, the state, Hank Paulson here, to quote Hank Paulson in reverse. Okay, the state of our sexual institutions are not strong. Okay, they are not strong. The people are not getting laid. The people in relationships are subscribing to OnlyFans. Is this sad? Is this undesirable? I mean, if you believe in the real, maybe. This is part of the hell we live in. Let's do that.
We live in hell. We live in the gutter.
And that's fine. Okay. I don't see how, because this was obviously attacked online. You know, how could this young man do this to this woman? Why does he have these tattoos? Why does she have this nose ring? Everyone's so unpresentable. And people are trying to pick sides. My response is quite simple. It's you're gonna pick sides in prison? Brother. If you want to go to prison and pick sides, go for it. Okay. We're in prison. We're in hell. All right. If I go to prison, I'm not going to be rolling with the ABs or the Norteños or the Black Guerrilla Mafia. I'm not rolling with any of them. No one here is right. No one here is wrong. This is performance art because that is what life is now. Everyone is constantly performing. And so if you're going to be angry at someone in this situation, you have to take a big step back. And to quote Elon Musk, fuck your own. No, I'm not saying that. You have to take a big step back and assess, why are you even emotionally invested when you're in hell? The fact that this can happen shows you that things are off the rails. I don't mean the train is teetering. I mean the train is off the rails and it's still going. So why would you pick a side? Let's continue. And on that performative point, let's see here again some protests against ICE. Let's watch here.
Deportation! Up with liberation! Down with deportation! got to go! Down, down with deportation! Deportation!
Listen, man. I like a barbecue. I like to have a good time. I like to go to the movie theater. I like to go biking in Shark Valley. I like to go to the history museum. I like to go to the children's museum even. I like to travel. I like to go see something. I like to have a good time. I guess, you know, in past episodes, I've kind of condemned this behavior. I've said, you know, these protests are stupid, and I think protests are stupid, but the reality is that I'm realizing is that performing on TikTok at a protest is probably the last way that we can have a good time. Have a good time. A lot of people, oh, this is performative. Of course it is. But what isn't? What isn't performative? Everything now is under the microscope. Everything is postmodern. You go to the grocery store, you're doing a performance. Oh, I'm not eating this because it has seed oils, or I'm not eating this because it has beef. It's all performative. They're just taking it to the rational conclusion. I think maybe if we started protests that were neutral, you know, like a protest to be like, we need to go, we're protesting to eat a good barbecue, we could have more fun. Because that would make, that would at least bring people together. I don't see the point of doing it politically. You can only get yourself hurt. But if this is the only way you can get people together, you know, 100 years ago, you had the Playhouse, then you had the movie theater, then you had the social club. Now we have the protest. And I guess the run club, right? The protest and the run club. The run club is for the affluent young person who's moving up in this world, who wants to have sexual relations with no consequences and all this. But there's also the protest. And the protest skews towards people that are maybe a little bit too online, maybe a little bit LARPy. But you know, when I was a kid, people used to LARP. They used to dress up as Civil War soldiers and shoot each other with blanks and all. Now we're going to simulate Baudrillard needs to understand, we're going to simulate the 1960s. We're going to pretend that we're fighting power. At the end of the day, I'm sure they're going to go have a great time. They're going to, I don't know, probably get laid, maybe, I don't know, eat some watermelon like when you played t-ball as a kid. Someone's moms will bring oranges, and it'll be fun. Because otherwise, what are we gonna do? I mean, what other way is there of getting people together? Shit, dude, I might start pulling up to the No Kings protest to not even to sell merch, not even to grift, just to have a good time. Maybe you go out there with a green egg, you know, a Coleman green egg, start cooking up some steaks. Hey, don't worry, we have the vegan option for the vegans. And everyone's having a good time. This is the American asado. This is what it is. It's just to go and protest. All right. Good stuff. They've gone mad, man. I shared this in the chat. I like this one, man. This was pretty funny. I hate everything confirmed that this is not the case in reality. But let's see what's happening in New York, because we have to talk about Zohran a little later.
Zohran Mamdani is in big trouble because he is no longer recognized as the only leader of New York. The Kuomintang are rising as a new one. Driven from Manhattan after the November Revolution, Kuomintang supporters retreated to Staten Island and created an illegal breakaway government with the goal of reclaiming the entire city. Mamdani has promised to purge all remaining Kuomintang from the city, but Staten Island remains a Kuomintang stronghold despite heavy offensives on the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. Recently, the Kuomintang launched a massive surprise amphibious landing on Liberty Island, Governor's Island, and Coney Island, capturing these vital weak spots with little resistance. To make matters even worse, the Kuomintang were able to secure an alliance with right-wing sympathizers from Long Island, who opened a new eastern front against the revolutionary borough of Queens, stretching Mamdani's People's Front thin. Despite these setbacks, Mamdani still has firm control over most of the city, but the big question remains if he and his army will be able to fight off the Kuomintang resistance or fall to them. Who do you support in the war, Mamdani's People's Liberation Army or the Kuomintang?
It's very funny because obviously it's ironic. Obviously there's no Kuomintang army with Andrew Cuomo leading it. What I find fascinating though is I've seen this rhetoric even start with AI content of real wars. They're like, who do you support in the war? Russia or Ukraine? Who do you support in the war? Iran or Israel? Who do you support in the war? Palestine or Israel? Who do you support in the war? South Sudan or Sudan? And I mean, was it ever going to go any other way with after the Gulf War, after, all of this? How you doing, Pajarito Lindo? Happy Black History Month. It's Black History Month on the King Leo Show. All right. This is what war is becoming. War is becoming, and we saw it even in the previous clip. No borders, no walls from USA to Palestine. It's all so detached. It's all so moving out of the actual thing. It's all becoming. This was Baudrillard's criticism of the Serbian war and how it was treated. This is all becoming a simulacrum of itself. I mean, even here, I wouldn't be surprised if this means something into reality, whether it be in New York or maybe tomorrow, some Indian minister watches this and goes, dude, why haven't we allied with Taiwan yet? And we take the Chinese out. It's not even surprising to think about that this is the way the world is going. These memes will lead the future. Let's continue. We have, I wanted to, dude, all right, let's watch this. Let's watch this. This is a question. I guess Mr. Elu can enlighten us here too. Look, I'm all for decolonizing your mind. If that means escaping the slave mentality, where's our clip?
This is exactly what I'm talking about, the slave mentality, the slave mind.
Then I am all in support of it. Okay, we have to escape the slave mentality. However, and I saw Zohran did this too. I'll say this as a Hispanic dude. I'm glad that the Spanish brought us Roman law. I'm glad they brought it because it's more convenient than whatever we were doing before that. If you go to the Vatican Museum and you see what we were doing in Latin America before Spain showed up, you're like, God, I'm happy they showed up, dude. We'd probably be resolving our disputes with beatings. We'd still be invading each other, And my question here is this, and I'm not shitting on it. I understand that there's a cultural aspect to this. Is there not an advantage to forks and knives that people can see? Because look, there are finger foods, of course, but this is not, I see this as inconvenient to the user, right? This is where things go a little too far. They go a little too far. Sure, decolonize. Everyone has to do a little decolonization every once in a while, right? Everyone has to do it. But I think we can keep some of the good stuff, and the white people can get some of the good stuff from us too. Like, we can all do a great cultural Tom Friedman exchange. We don't need to. Sorry, we lost you there. I don't see the advantage to doing this, to eating with your hands. I see it as a disadvantage. Because if we're really decolonizing, and this has been one of my main concerns with the TFR thing, even though I'm not that concerned about it, is I want white people to exist. Partially, of course, cultural and all this, like whatever. But the other thing is, dude, like, I think they made the microwave. I think that was them. We made the color television, but they made the microwave. I like the microwave. I like it. It's Black History Month. We appreciate Black people stuff. We appreciate white people stuff. I like the white people's cutlery. It's a good thing to use. It makes eating a lot more convenient. Thank you, white people, on this Black History Month, for giving us the fork. Or did Chinese people use the sticks, Even that, I love to use the sticks, How you doing, Will? This is Black History Month. We got the kente cloth on for Black History Month, Efforts pointing out spoons are the greatest invention. I tried eating with Chinese sticks once. It did not work so great, but I get it. Maybe that's why they're so slim. That's true too. Maybe we can decolonize. That's a good idea, Effort. We can decolonize in a very smart way where we go, listen, man, you were cooking with this silverware when food was limited. But now if we transition over to something that gets a little bit less food, we can lose some weight. We don't need to decolonize everything is what I'm saying. You know, that's all I'm saying. All right. I'm not going back to do ancestor worship in the jungles of Venezuela. I'm sorry, dude. I'm a postmodern Catholic. Thank you, the Spanish, for that. I'm not doing a blood sacrifice of an animal. Dude, if you want to do that, go somewhere. What is the point of this? All right. For our last bit, let's watch here the biological warfare that's going on in this country, which I pointed out repeatedly.
If a civil war begins, I volunteer, but not as a regular army person. Pick me to serve as a bioweapon. Let me spread Hep C to the bad guys. My weapon isn't my gun, it's my Hep C. Spread love, not war. By love, I mean Hep C. Comment below if you have Hep C and you want to join my liberal bio arsenal. Hep C can be cured via oral medication, but we're not gonna have Hep C meds at wartime.
Please do not acquire hepatitis C. For anyone in the chat that needs to hear this, I'm giving you permission. You don't need to acquire Hep C. You don't need to acquire it. Hep C is bad. You can cure it, sure. It's not good to have Hep C. It's not a good disease. Dude, we have ICE agents rubbing their ass against windows, spreading fecal matter. We have people not washing their hands after COVID. And now we have this Hep C. Because I know it's ironic. I know it's a meme. It's not me not wanting to have a good time. I'm having a good time, okay? I'm having a good time. I'm listening to Marvin Gaye on the way here, okay? I'm having a good time. I don't want Hep C. Dude, this is going to kill babies. Hep C is bad. It's not good for us to have a resurgence. Why don't we go further? Why don't we give everyone Ebola? I mean, if this is where we're going in the war, is this what Tim Pool meant? Tim Pool, get on the line. Tim Pool, the liberals want to spread Hep C. Tim Pool, I think you were right. Dude, this is too stupid. This is too stupid. We can't be spreading Hep C. Hep C it's an STD, but you also get it from sharing needles and rusty blades and all this. Hep C's bad. It kills your liver. Do not acquire it. All right, they've gone mad. Let's get to, should we do Zohran? Should we do Zohran or a little bit from my neck of the woods? Let's do Zohran first. Let's do Zohran. Let's catch up on Zohran Mamdani.
Are you a communist?
No, I am not. I don't think that we should have billionaires. No, I call myself a democratic socialist. No, I have many critiques of capitalism. There must be a better distribution of wealth for all of God's children in this country. What I'm focused on is making the city affordable for everyone, not to win an ideological argument.
All right, we got to get to Zohran. First, I want to lead with this take that I really liked from Adam Friedland. There's comedy in it, of course, but I like what he's saying overall here, which is the same question I have to Mark Levin and all of these other ragers, so these people that were just causing rage in this country when this election was happening. I want to hear what he has to say about Zohran because it's actually pretty insightful.
I don't know. Mamdani, for me personally, like, yeah, in talking to him, what we saw during the primary was in a Democratic primary, a Muslim candidate was being dubbed Osama bin Laden effectively, and he's from the Upper West Side. I mean, like, he's practically Jewish. Like, so it's seeing him in that context, right? Being genuinely himself. I think some of the worst guys I grew up with sent me texts afterwards that were like, while I still 100% disagree with his policies, he seems like a pretty chill guy, and I think it benefited the city that people it was an ugly primary and it was an ugly general in New York, and it was racist the way this guy was being treated, and they were saying to him they have to be racist because for the Jews they have to say that he's going to do Sharia law, and we have to say this because this is what the Jews want. And it was and for me as a Jewish person to watch that was pretty nauseating. So giving him 5 minutes to just talk about soccer, you could just see that he's just a guy around my age.
I'm very glad to see Adam Friedland say this. Why? Because I feel like it's literally me and him, the only people who remember this now. And I want to bring this up where I thought that we were going to get Sharia. I thought it was going to be Dubai and Iran and the Deep South because Mark Levin said he was a KKK member too. I thought it was going to be the end of the world. I thought it was going to be burqas in New York. I've seen images out of New York. I've seen some burqas, sure, but I don't think it's a state-enforced policy. And I'm glad that at least, because, you know, you always feel crazy when you're the only one who remembers something. But I'm glad that Adam Friedland here remembers at least too. It's about time that people start calling this out. How you doing, Full Hat? How you doing? I hate everything. Who is this dude? This is Adam Friedland. He's pretty funny. He did a good interview with Zohran. So I'm very glad to see that people have not forgotten. But let's get to what Zohran's actually doing. Before that, though. No, just snow says I hate everything. Yeah, just snow. No burqas, just snow. Maybe they'll take pictures of people in snow outfits. Excuse me. Shiesties and ski mask and say that's the Sharia law that he brought in. I want to show you a French politician here who now we're going to have to live with this because everyone is a copycat. No one is original in this world anymore. Let's see how they're ripping off Zohran Mamdani over in the land of French fries.
Craquelé. Là, c'est 10 balles le menu, c'est à la fois pas cher et en même temps c'est quasiment inaccessible pour beaucoup de gens. Et donc on travaille sur ce sujet, c'est l'augmentation des prix à Paris qui est devenue extrêmement problématique. Et c'est pas juste le kebab qui a augmenté, c'est la vie, c'est tout, c'est les courses, c'est l'énergie. Et donc évidemment on va y travailler. Ça veut dire des milliers de personnes qui peuvent plus payer leur vie au quotidien. Pour lutter contre ça et pour promouvoir le pouvoir de vivre à Paris, je propose des mesures qui sont simples.
So I know probably not many French speakers here. I'm being biased because I speak French, right? So like I can understand it. What he's saying is that life has gotten too expensive, the kebab prices are off the rack, and he has simple solutions to fix the living standards in Paris so that it's a more affordable city. And he has obviously Playboy Cardi. It's the first of the month, you know, playing in the background. You know, this is great stuff. The French were traditionally more original than other people. You know, they were an original people. And now they're ripping off according to Mark Levin, a literal jihadist. You know, this is not a good look for France. France is going to get Sharia law now. I was told that it already had it, but I guess it's going to get it for real because they're copying Zohran Mamdani. But mostly, dude, we're going to have to live with this because, as I've said, Fishback does this as well in Florida, but this going international is just, it's a pain in the ass of the voter, man. You're going to have to live with this for the next 30 years at least. Just people shooting stuff with Playboy Cardi in the background, telling you they're going to fix your life. All right, thank you. No one's coming to save you, by the way. All right. So firstly, we have to catch up here. There's a lot of snow in New York. I have French, Spanish, and English, my friend. I know some Portuguese, but not enough to say I speak it. But eu posso falar pouquinho português. É que, a vezes, se volve em portunhol. Não é português a vezes. A vezes é uma mescla com espanhol. So I get it confused with Spanish and some Italian from Italian friends, you know. I wish I need to move to Portugal for like a month. Once I get my Spanish passport, I'll come back speaking Portuguese. It's not that hard. It's just a Russian person speaking Spanish with burnt tongue. That's what Portuguese is. Eu gosto muito da língua portuguesa. Eu gosto muito. A futebol, Brasil número um. Brasil número um. You know, I could do it. I could do the Kai Cenat. Is he one of the, no, like I Show Speed, you know. Eu amo Rio de Janeiro. Eu gosto muito do Brasil. You know, so that, you know, it's not that hard. All right. Let's see what Zohran Mamdani is doing here in regards to the homeless who are freezing on the streets.
last one, Timmy, right here.
Sort of similar. Yes, 2 days ago I was in Brooklyn and I saw a gentleman sleeping on the sidewalk, and I thought of what you said. I happened to look up and there were 2 officers across the street, so I went over and I flagged them. And they went up to him and they woke him up, and he told them that he wanted to stay out there, and he waved them away. And the officers came up to me after and they said he seemed, rational and coherent, and in that case there's sort of nothing we can do. He can't stay there, but as long as he offers to get off the sidewalk and leave, there's nothing we can do. So is that sort of how those outreaches are supposed to work? At what point is someone a threat to themselves if they insist on staying outside?
There are a number of specific criteria that is used in determining whether one is a danger to themselves or to others. I think we can find some of this criteria also in how an individual is clothed, whether they are deemed to actually be warm in those settings, as well as their behavior. And for the New Yorkers who are deemed to be a threat to themselves or to others, there is a process of involuntary confinement, which is a last resort. However, it has been utilized a number of times whenever city workers have come to that conclusion. In addition to that, what I am incredibly appreciative of when it comes to city workers is that they are continuing to canvass people again and again and again. If you speak to a homeless outreach worker, you will inevitably hear a story of someone that they went to who said no to them one day, no to them the next day, and then for whatever reason said yes to them the day after that. And that's why the sustained, repeated outreach is so critically important. And I also know that these have been conditions that have demanded everything from every city worker. And I went to Bellevue the other night to see it transformed into a warming center. And I saw there that New Yorkers who were already putting in one shift, finding it within themselves to help again. And too often, this is a crisis that is distilled only into statistics.
Okay. So we see a lot of pitter-patter around the homeless question. Zohran saying the homeless, if they're in the streets, if you are a journalist like this man who wants to take this homeless person and put them in hell.
We live in hell. We live in the gutter.
You want to get them off the streets for what? For what? Hey, I'm going to call the cops so that you get off the streets, okay? Why don't you give him a job application too? Fuck you. Who do you think you are? I think Zohran is completely correct here. The homeless, if they want to be out there, they want to be out there. Okay? If they're going to freeze and die, you are projecting onto that person your desire to continue in hell. That is your desire. That is not their desire. It doesn't seem like it. Dude, I'm tired of this, man. I used to be a much kinder person. I used to give homeless people cigarettes because I was like, fuck it, dude, what am I going to do? Get them to stop smoking? I don't do that anymore. But the reality is this. What are we doing here, folks? I mean, you're trying to take this homeless guy who's probably made a decision here. He's made it. He said, look, this vent, it hits good. I'm not feeling cold. I may die. Then you go up to, dude, this is the same thing as going up to Evel Knievel as he's gonna jump a motorcycle across the Grand Canyon and say, Evel Knievel, you could die. You could hurt people. You could hurt yourself. Do you think Evel Knievel gave a shit about that? Do you think the Red Bull people care when he jumped from the stratosphere, the Red Bull guy, when I was a kid? Do you think they cared? No, absolutely not. Because some people have a thrill in them. They have a thrill. And you are coming in here to make their life worse. He is choosing something. So I do think that this actually makes sense. This does make sense. Why are we making people, bringing them back into hell? If the homeless person is there, if they're not disturbing anyone, why are you doing this to them? Why are you calling the cops? Why are you snitching? Why are you snitching? I don't get it. I hate everything. Says the only fair criticism I have on this is he still looks like he supports them not getting rid of homeless encampment. It sounds like word salad to me. It does sound like word salad. It's a bad answer. I agree. I gotta disagree with you on this, Leo. I think the reality hit Zohran. But the thing is, what do they want him to do? You know what I mean? What do they want him to do? Do they want him to say, you know what, we're going to go out there with social workers and we're going to beat their ass until they get into a medical center or something? What is he supposed to say? You know? That's my question. I agree with you. It's a word salad answer. It's not exactly perfect. But this is a question that is so annoying on its face that I'm like, what do you want him to do? Why don't, in the words of John Lennon, there are no problems. There are only solutions. If you're not coming in there with a solution, then don't bring it up. What is your solution? I got the cops and the cops. Shut up. Shut up. To continue, Zohran did this. This is what he's doing now. He's opening the Dinkins building and restoring it. Let's watch here.
I'm here at the top of the David Dinkins Municipal Building. This is one of the most magnificent government buildings in the world. As we begin to celebrate Black History Month, it felt fitting to honor the legacy of our city's first black mayor right here. From up here, you can see everything, from MetLife Stadium all the way to Bushwick. This building belongs to the people of this city, but for too long, most New Yorkers have been shut out of it. That's coming to an end. We're opening the rooftop of the Dinkins Municipal Building to the public. Starting this June, the city will offer guided tours of this extraordinary civic landmark. You'll be able to reserve free tickets online and go up in small groups. We're restoring the building too, repointing the cupola, repairing the rotunda, and bringing the space back to its full civic glory. My administration will keep opening up public spaces like this, because New Yorkers deserve to see their city from a whole new height.
So first thing is this. I'm surprised that New York has any building named after David Dinkins. Because my understanding is that David Dinkins, in the words of A Tribe Called Quest, they had to change the lyrics. Mayor Dinkins was a fucked up mayor. They had to change it to that because he was not a good mayor. He was a bad mayor, actually. But as I predicted, as my producer predicted, this is not unexpected. Zohran is the type of guy who's going to invest in the arts. He's going to invest in this kind of stuff, you know. So, I mean, I'm not going to hate it. But where are my free buses, bro? Where is... Zohran, you're in power now, dude. Like, where is the cool stuff that I was promised? I was promised a lot of cool stuff, and I guess it's alright. You know, it's okay, but the Dinkins building, you know... You know that's not what they voted for. They voted for something more cool. Something more cool. And everything says they're whitewashing Dinkins. Right, that's what I'm confused about. Is that David Dinkins was a bad mayor, in my understanding. He was a bad mayor. I don't know. I mean, good for him, I guess. All right, let's move on to Florida. We got to get to my Floridians. My Floridians. What is up with my Floridians? What is going on in my great state? Well, for anyone that's not from here, you're not aware of this. When I was a kid, dude, and it was winter. Because when I was a kid, we had winter here, and then it went away for a bit, and then it came back. I did see that. I hit everything. Polymarket's setting up a free grocery store. They're beating Mr. Mamdani to it, but if he could inspire people to do it on their own, is that not the same victory? Regardless. When I was a kid, dude, and it was, I remember elementary school, dude, we had these trees above our basketball courts, and when the temperatures got low, you'd start hearing blah, 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 blah. And you, what's going on here? And it was these iguanas. Because we have this invasive species of iguana in Florida, and they live on the trees, and when it gets cold, they shut down, and they fall. And as a kid, you're like, what the hell is this thing? You know? But iguanas are invasive. They're not good. People hate, I don't hate them in particular, but people hate them a lot. Because they ruin roofs, I think, like peacocks. But peacocks are protected. These are not. There used to be a bounty on them. And people buy BB guns and they shoot them and all that. They're kind of cute, though. I like the iguanas. But they're not good for the environment. Okay, they're not good for the environment. And here we have... What happened is that It's really cold in Florida right now. If I really want to know is here. He knows in Tampa. And the iguanas are falling off the trees. They're jumping off the porch.
I'm cold stunned myself, but look at this right now. We just saw a couple more groups of people roll up here. I can't even count how many iguanas are right there. This is, of course, all part of a Florida Fish and Wildlife program that is actually allowing the public to help remove these invasive iguanas. And already we've seen several groups of people showing up here at this FWC collection center in Sunrise. Let's take you now to some of that video as people were arriving with their catches, if you will, earlier today. Due to this cold snap, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission says people can now collect live cold-stunned iguanas from their properties or with landowner permission and bring them directly to 5 designated FWC offices throughout the southern part of the state. The closest one here in South Florida being this one here in Sunrise.
All right. You get it. There's these iguanas. They're everywhere. And people hate these iguanas. People in Florida, man, people hate the iguanas. They hate the caimans. They hate a couple of things. Okay? They're terrible. People don't like them. Here, you can see some more iguanas. I had everything. Says some countries that's a free meal. You watch, because in my country it is too. Because this is we're gonna do a little white people appreciation here.
What's wrong with this guy, man? What are you doing?
Is it that cold, bro? What? Oh my God.
Why y'all being so loud, bro? I'm trying to sleep. How you sleeping in this weather with these iguanas on you like that? Well, it was 30 degrees. Now it's 100. They keep me warm.
No, you have 100 iguanas on you. It's
and now I feel like I'm 100 degrees.
I'm trying to park it though. You in a parking spot, bro.
You gotta move, bro.
Well, guess what? There's 100 more. Go find another spot, bro. Seriously. Go, bro.
All right. Yeah, we can park somewhere else, bro.
Crazy, bro.
That's crazy. Huh?
For educational purposes, we did not kill these iguanas. This is called brumation. It is hibernation, but for the reptile. They just have no energy, no life, and they're trying to preserve everything that they have left. We love everything with a heartbeat. Thank you guys for watching.
So as you can hear there very clearly, this is why I love Florida. That's Hollywood. You know, this Hispanic, could be Hispanic or white individual is having a great time with his iguana blanket. Black people are questioning him. Why are you sitting here with these iguanas on you, my friend? But everyone understands these iguanas are not great. And, you know, it's Black History Month, but I would be remiss to not show this, man. This is why I love Florida, dude. We have some of the best white people. Look at this man here, tapping into the Florida cracker roots.
It is currently so cold here in South Florida that iguanas like this one are falling out of the trees. So today, we're making iguana tacos. Green iguanas are an invasive species here in South Florida that compete with our native wildlife for resources. But because they're not from here, they aren't adapted to the cold. So when we get these cold fronts, they become too cold and they fall straight out of the trees. Whenever we have these cold fronts and they start falling down, a lot of people will go out and collect them to help control the number in the population. But they do have the nickname chicken of the trees because they're absolutely delicious. So rather than let this one go to waste, we're gonna make tacos. This next part I'm not gonna show because I don't want the video to get taken down, but we have to humanely dispatch and clean this guy. It's a good thing I managed to remove this one when I did, because inside I found over 20 eggs. So by removing this one iguana, we've actually saved the environment from over 20 iguanas come spring. And you guys know that I like to waste as little as possible. So in addition to making the tacos, I'm also gonna try to preserve the skin, and any leftovers are used as crab trap bait, so zero waste. First things first, I filled the pot with water and added onion, garlic, a bay leaf, and some salt, and we're gonna bring this to a simmer. Once it was at a low simmer, I added in the iguana meat, and we're gonna let this cook on low heat for the next 30 minutes. By par cooking the iguana like this, you give it flavor and tenderize it. After 30 minutes, I removed the iguana meat, set it to the side so that it could cool down, and then added the iguana eggs to the hot water to soft boil. Then I added the soft-boiled iguana eggs with some avocado, some garlic cloves, a little olive oil, salt, and lime juice, and gave it a good mix. Once it was done, I topped it with black pepper and lime, and we have our sauce. Next, I removed all the iguana meat from the bone, added in my favorite seasonings, and tossed it into the frying pan so that it could get nice and crispy. I like to let the edges crisp up until they look something like this. In the leftover oil, I crisped up some tortillas. Then I added in the iguana meat, topped it with some pickled red onions, jalapeno, and cilantro, and then drizzled on our sauce. And there we have it, iguana tacos. They look good and they smell good, but now it's time to see how they taste. I'm just gonna add a little squeeze of lime to this one, give it a nice little dip into the sauce, and bon appetit.
I love our white people, dude. Florida has the best white people. We really do. This is traditional Florida cracker shit, dude. And that's not a slur in our state. That's an ethnic group. The Scots Irish. They're called Florida crackers. This is the beauty of this state. We have a white man making when life gives you iguanas, you make iguana tacos. And I'm sure that everyone here, bro, the Hispanics know we eat this too, you know, not looking down on it, considering it the iguana side side and everything. The white people are, dude, white people have tried this a lot in the state. They tried to eat the lionfish, but it never really took off. This is white Florida ingenuity at its peak. Like, bro, a Hispanic guy shows up and they're like, bro, I'm not eating iguana. ¿Para qué yo voy a comer iguana? Si eso yo lo comí en Honduras. Why would I eat an iguana? I'm in America. Yo estoy aquí. Yo voy a comer vacuno. I'm not eating iguana. The white man comes in and he says, dude, hang on, bro. Before you throw your culture away at the door, what if we all eat the iguana? Maybe it's delicious. This is the best race relations in the country, bro. I love our Florida crackers, bro. The greatest of the greats. The greatest. Huge fan. Huge fan. These are great people. I love them. I love them. Anyone, dude, I swear, if it were like, I don't know, maybe it's my preconception. If I'm in the Northeast and I start eating iguana, the wasp is going to be like, why are you eating an iguana? The white people, eat that iguana. Let's go. Let's eat it. Let's eat them into extinction. They're delicious. Ephra says, might this type of dish come from the 1930s when it was the Great Depression? I don't know about iguana, but we do have, and fortunately it doesn't happen anymore. We have these tortoises here in Florida called the gopher tortoise, and they were known as Hoover chicken back in the day because people used to eat them in a soup. They're endangered, and they're so cute, man. I love these little tortoises. You're not supposed to, but you can pet them. So, very, very nice. This is what they used to eat back in the day. Black people and white people. This was Florida was Hispanic, but not super Hispanic yet. So, they used to eat these. Now it's iguana. So, I'm very happy to see the ingenuity. I see the vision. You know, it's Black History Month, so I see the vision of the iguana taco. I see the vision of chitlins and pig's feet and ham hocks, candied yams. God, I love me some candied yams, dude. I love some candied yams. Not a collard greens guy. I just love the culture, dude. You gotta love the culture. All right. We have to get to our main story, bro. Heavy story, so we'll start with some memes, right? We have to get to Senor Epstein. Senor Epstein! Senor Epstein! All right. Let's start with the memes here. We saw Nick Fuentes brought out the Epstein jacket, and people are memeing it into even more reality. Let's see here. Apparently, Zara has dropped their own version.
Could you please give us your name? Jeffrey Epstein.
All right. The Epstein drip, dude. It goes hard. It goes hard. I don't think this is actually at Zara. You know, with the pyramid temple on the. I don't think that's the case, but yeah, great stuff. We have here. This one was great too. It's Diddy, Charlie Kirk, and Epstein. It's not Kirk Watch. It's Jeff Watch.
Where did the fox go, Diddy?
Sorry, guys. I didn't know.
So, Jeff, you're telling us you got banned because you called somebody a nigger? And now we can't play?
Nothing personal, Diddy. Big Island Boy 69 is still your homie, my name.
At least you could have called me, and we could have gotten banned together.
Wait, guys, I still got the PC. We should play the new game that just came out.
All right. We have another one here. We got this one. We got the Epstein as Robert Downey Jr.
Okay, go.
You've been called the gooner of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't goon.
And what do you say to your other nickname, the King of the Islands?
That's not bad.
Is it okay if I can goon with you?
Yes, it's very cool.
W. Epstein.
I don't want to see this on your OF page.
Epstein.
You know me?
I do. You're not the only one cursed with being a city boy.
My only curse is you, Donald.
I am a city boy.
And I am Island Man.
Tough, 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 tough. We got some more here. Don't worry, we'll get to the serious stuff. This is just a heavy topic.
Everything that I've read, praise the Lord. Worship Christ with the best of your portions. I know I won't forget all he's done. He's the strength in this race that I run. Every time I look up, I see God's faithfulness, and it shows just how much he is miraculous. I can't keep it to myself. I can't sit here and be still. Everybody I will tell till the whole world is healed. King of kings, Lord of lords, all the things he has in.
I see Doom Shop's asking for the links. Let me retweet these on my Twitter, man, and then you could get them there. I can't send them in the chat. Let me do that for the other ones too. We see Epstein with Yakub, who created white people, as we understand. Just find me on Twitter, bro. It's the same thing. It's King Leo Miami. Give me a follow. Guys, follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, okay? Let's do that. So that's Epstein. There we go. They're all reposted. All right. All right. So now let's get to the serious stuff. Let's get to the serious stuff. All right. Let's get to the serious stuff. Donald Trump has denied. Let's catch up. Let's catch up. Okay. So basically, these Epstein files were leaked. Okay. They deleted them very quickly, but they were leaked. And these Epstein files revealed a lot of bad behavior on the part of our elites, you know, on the part of Peter Mandelson, who we'll get into, Jason from the All In podcast, Donald Trump even. Now, I'm not Sean Ryan here. I'm not going to, but I want to know how big it was. I'm not that guy, okay? I'm not that guy. I don't want to read this stuff. I find it gross. There was a lot of talk about how Mr. Epstein referred to my fellow Gentiles as the Goyim. All right, regardless, it's not a great look for Mr. Epstein or anyone mentioned in the files. It's not a great look. Donald Trump is sticking to the party line, okay? He's saying the whole thing's a hoax. We're going to watch him here, but and everything says, crazy to think that people probably played games with Osama and Epstein. Goated Call of Duty lobby. N-words in a Saudi accent and a Jewish accent. Just, all right. Let's see Donald Trump.
Mr. President. The two Kevins. Very good.
Mr. President, is Vice President Vance hosting a gathering this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
Is he working on what?
Is he hosting some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
I don't know. I could ask you that question. I don't know of it, but I think here's the man right here.
I saw a reporter today, and it's completely fake news. We're not meeting to talk about the Epstein situation, and I think the reporter who reported it needs to get better sources.
So this is the older clip. He hasn't, I haven't seen him publicly state it again, but he's written it that this whole thing's a hoax, that it's not real, that it's not actually happening. But this is the party line. Now it's a lot more frustrated. Back then it was very, you know, up in the air. It's not a great look. Okay. All right. Oh, we had one more. Let's get this one in here. We had an island man here. Well, let's watch this one.
Epstein was able to build an island with a box of scraps.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm not Jeffrey Epstein.
Is it better to be feared or be a city boy? And I say, is it too much to ask for both?
The truth is, I am Island Man.
Epstein, we need a plan of attack.
I have a plan, Charlie. Attack.
All right. Some people are saying, I'll retweet that one too. Some people are saying that this is part of an operation to make cool Epstein, that this is all a psyop. Now, I spoke to Gemini, which is the most insightful of the chatbots, in my opinion, that I've found. And my producer did too, and we came to the conclusion that essentially what's happening here is if you really read these files, which I did before this, at least the ones that were posted on Twitter, nothing in there is exactly a crime. Nothing is actually something that you could prosecute someone for. Okay. I know there were some salacious claims that Donald Trump was getting fellatio from an underage girl, all this, but these are just claims. It's hearsay. It's testimony. This is something that would have to go under a microscope. It is not in what do you call it? Like a conviction, right? It's not a conviction. Nothing has been shown in court. And they flooded the internet with a bunch of different things. If you're mad at the tech people, you have Epstein there. If you're mad at entertainment people, you have Epstein there. If you're mad at your government, you have Epstein there. And the reality is that what Gemini enlightened me and my producer on is that this is probably part of a whole op in itself, where the reality is they're showing you all of this because nothing can really be convicted on. You can't be convicted on any of this stuff, okay? But what you can do is now everyone can pick their own enemy. Anyone can pick who to believe, who not to believe. And in a lot of ways, erode the confidence of the American people in every institution they have. You might think, why is this a good idea? How would this benefit people? And especially on this Black History Month, I think it's best to go to some history here, which is, as I've said previously, unfortunately, Black Americans have been in the position where they test a lot of stuff on them, okay? Whether it be Tuskegee or welfare or any of this, a lot of this stuff was tested on them and then expanded out later, okay? Latinos to an extent as well. Look at the Guatemala syphilis experiment or what was done in Puerto Rico. This is not great stuff, okay? Now, when you look at the state of the Black community and other minority communities, it's not really great in this country right now. People are not doing great. And if you go into these communities, you will find that they have a healthy and strong distrust of almost every institution. Almost literally every institution, man. It's very rare that they trust anyone. And you would think that this is bad, that this is something that the elites don't want, okay? They don't want you to be distrusting everything. But the reality is that it actually makes you a lot more manageable, unfortunately. This is just the way that it works. If you don't trust anyone, if you can't stake your flag anywhere, that means that you are adrift. You are on your own. And you are out of the way, okay? It's not good. It's not a good thing to bring this to everyone. I'm not saying you should trust any institution. Institutions are all full of shit. But when we have a critical mass, which seems to be what's happening here, everyone can get angry at whoever they want. This becomes a problem for you because then you have to go into the grocery store and deal with the cashier who wants to talk your ear off about how, I don't know, Donald Trump and Joe Biden were eating children with Jeffrey Epstein. And you're just trying to buy a banana or a gluten-free rice cake. You know, you're just trying to have a good time. So this is a problem where I see this spreading across society. And this is not to excuse Jeffrey Epstein. It's not to say that he did anything that was correct or anything. This is a lot of this is nefarious stuff. It's not good, you know? But there is nothing with definitive proof. There is no smoking gun. There is no case. And this makes it incredibly difficult for people to reconcile and see who is their defender. We already see Trump people turning on Trump in regards to this. We already see Democrats turning on Democrats here. And the fascinating thing is, particularly with Democrats, this started as a Democrat scandal. If you remember the early 2000s, the Lolita Express, Bill Clinton, etc. These people were the ones who were seen as the ones who were aligned with Epstein. And now Republicans see the Democrats as the ones that are aligned with Epstein. And the Democrats see the Republicans as the ones that were aligned with Epstein. And basically, we have Schizo Nation. So that's my understanding of these files, brought to you partially by my producer and Google Gemini. Let's continue and see what else came out. So we saw here these clips came out of Epstein. Obviously, by the way, this is part of a tactic. Of course, look, there's victims protections things, right? There's things where I don't know about other states, but in Florida, you can't name the victim, you know, unless they want to be named, because for their own protection. Now they have these videos here of. I see Mr. Elu say the Clintons are testifying. Mr. Elu, mark the date. I promise you they probably won't testify. I don't promise you, but I think that they are not going to testify, dude. And I can tell you that with some certainty because I already saw someone go through this, which was Hotep Jesus a few years ago. I'm a fan of the Hoteps over here. And he said he had it marked on his calendar a day that Hillary Clinton was supposed to testify about something. And she never did. They are not going to testify. I hate everything says no one's going to the jail at the end of the day. Absolutely. So what is the ulterior motive? And in this video here, we see some young woman. We don't know how old they are. We don't know their identities. We don't know who they are, who are dancing with Christopher Hitchens, no, with Jeffrey Epstein. We see them here. Mr. Epstein gesture maxing, of course. Now, you may be disgusted at this video. You may find this video disgusting, and this is by design to an extent, okay? This black box, it looks nefarious. We don't know who this woman is. We don't know her age. We don't know what's actually going on. We don't even know where this footage came from. But you can project onto it whatever you want. This is a 12-year-old girl that's being abused. The woman recording is an 8-year-old girl laughing because they don't have any understanding. They could also be 60-year-old woman. Well, not moving like that, but 40-year-old woman that are dancing with Mr. Epstein. You don't know. You literally have no idea. You have no idea. I see Doom is saying such a nice gentleman and the person recording is underage. Do we know that, Doom? And I'm not saying that in a way of defending Epstein. I'm just saying we really have limited knowledge, unfortunately. We really can't know. And that's the thing. Exactly. Listen to the girl's voice recording. We have to think in these situations to remain sane, in my view, as a jurist, right? And we don't have all the information here. I remember this started to happen probably when Trayvon Martin was killed, and he was taken off. He got off, George Zimmerman. And I remember a lot of people were angry at the jury's decision. And I know this is going to be boring to say, but the reality is we weren't privy to what the jury saw. So how can we make an assessment, you know? And so do we have actual evidence? That's the problem. And that's why I think these releases are coordinated in a way. Because look, I'll play it again, like you're saying, and you can project onto that what you think. And I may even agree with you. It does sound like an underage girl. It could also be, are they in the Virgin Islands? What is the age of consent in the Virgin Islands? Let's Google that. U.S. Virgin Islands, age of consent. Because we have to remember, this is different. It's 18. Individuals 16, 17 may consent with partners no more than 5 years older. All right. Maybe it's someone who's 17. Maybe it's not. Do we know where this is? If it's in New York it's 16. So it's just a strange situation. Everything says Bill Clinton. I did not go to that island. I did not go to that island. So from a legal perspective, and that's why they're doing this, in my opinion, because legally there's nothing here. That could be a young girl, like you're saying. But we don't know. And these black bars are to protect identities, but also because now we can project whatever we want. You know, you could even project that this is a man dancing with Jeffrey Epstein in a dress. You have no idea. You have no idea. Let's continue. I wanted to play this, and we might watch a little bit more of it later. Steve Bannon released his interview with Jeffrey Epstein, which I have been wanting to watch for a long time. I admire Steve Bannon's filmmaking ability. I think that he's actually like a really good filmmaker. He released a 2-hour elite ball knowledge. I saw some people making fun of it saying, oh, Mr. Epstein isn't very intelligent. He's obviously dumbing this down for the viewer. I recommend that you watch this video, dude. This is a very, very good video. Very good video. The whole 2 hours is full of alpha because Jeffrey Epstein is able to break down why some things that don't make sense to you make sense to the people in charge. For example, very basic example, and I had a finance background, but I hadn't heard it put so eloquently. He said, look, Mr. Bannon, you have a bank. It's called Bannon Bank. At the end of the year, I tell you, Mr. Bannon, you have more assets. You have more assets this year than you did last year. Are you happy or sad? Well, probably you're happy. But the reality is that means that you owe more people money because you have more loans. What you want are more liabilities because that means more people owe you money. And that makes you an institution and that makes you too big to fail. So there is a lot of elite ball knowledge in this, dude. There's another one that I can't believe I didn't put it together where he talks about the reason that a lot of central banks and finance people don't succeed, and non-finance inclined people don't succeed in government. Like he mentions Africa specifically. Africa is a place where there's a lot of military dictatorships, a lot of military people, but this happened in Latin America, is because he says these people come in with the knowledge of balancing a checkbook, but they don't understand how to actually balance a country. And that doesn't mean, I know the libertarians are like fractional reserve banking. It's the reality we live in. We live in that. So there is a lot of knowledge you can download off this that I recommend. I really do recommend this. You can be a bad person, but that's the thing that I didn't like, Doom, not what you're saying, but some people were saying, oh, this is dumb. This is not worth watching. Dude, I always want to listen to the most that I can from people that look at Epstein. He's a bad guy at minimum. At maximum, he's like an evil devil. But the reality is that he is a person who was able to grift the whole world. Why would you not want to listen? You know? Right. And Mr. Elu says Epstein seems to have read the Debt the First 1,000 Years by David Graeber. I haven't read it, but his analysis of debt and what I can project onto the book is essentially what they teach you in B school, but that most people don't apply. So let's watch a little bit of it here, and I have another clip.
Or bank account and filling in their own taxes. So many world leaders who don't really have a financial underpinning make fundamental errors when it comes to money on a country or institutional level. Let me give you an example. If you, Mr. Bannon.
Really quick, I see J Boss. How you doing, J Boss? Why don't you do a live covering the points you think were worthwhile? I had that planned, dude, but I wasn't sure if you guys would be interested because it's a good interview. I wanted to do the whole interview as a stream. If there's enough people that want to watch that, I would love to do it, man. This interview was highly worth watching. If you want to watch it with me, drop ones in the chat, drop whatever, like just make it known because I wasn't sure. I was like, do people actually want to watch that? So I had everything says, how many years since Epstein died? Maybe still alive. Who knows? They definitely had enough time to get rid. Absolutely. That's the other thing. And I'm glad you bring that up before we continue. I don't think anything that's being leaked is of value because everything of value is out. It's gone. That was rated. It's gone. Where, dude, do you know how easy it is? I guess people don't know cops or how evidence lockers work. I have friends who they're not cops, but I guess they're law enforcement, right? But dude, evidence lockers are porous. Things break, they get lost all the time. You think that they're not able to do that? All right, guys, we might do that stream then. Or maybe we'll do it on Saturday or something. Maybe we'll do a Saturday stream. Because it's worth watching. But you guys let me know. I appreciate that. So yeah, I agree with you, man. Like people think that, and this kind of goes to the low IQ version of this. They're like, all the files, they're hiding them. Dude, they don't have to hide anything. They don't. Again, I refer you to Syriana. The reason we write laws against corruption is precisely so we can get away with it. Anything they're showing you, in my opinion, is with design. I'm even skeptical of Edward Snowden and what he showed us. And I'm not trying to drive you schizo. In fact, I'm doing the opposite. When you're told to freak out about something, just know there's probably a hand on that trigger. There's probably someone pushing you towards something. So let's watch here. This is a great excerpt from it, man.
If you, Mr. Bannon, if I said your assets increased last year, you'd say, that sounds pretty good. And I said, what does that mean to you? You'd say, well, I have more money. I guess I'm wealthier. I'd say, yes. And if your debt increased, would you feel wealthier or poorer? You'd say, well, I don't want to have increased debt. I don't like the idea of that sound, increased debt. Now, that and world leaders understand when their assets go up, they feel better. However, institutions like banks, things that people don't really understand are financial underpinnings of banks. When I say your bank, Mr. Bannon, you have the Bannon Bank, you doubled your assets. Sounds good, but what does it really mean? It means people owe you more money. You don't have any money, more money. What? Yeah. A bank's assets are how much it is owed by other people. That's crazy. So if the bank goes from $2 billion of assets to $10 billion, it means people owe it an additional $8 billion, but their assets have gone up. So the terminology of assets and liabilities is different for banks. It's not natural. And what most people, and you ask questions about world leaders, there's many people, I think your old boss Mercer understood, there's a fundamental part of money which is called fractionalized banking. And fractionalized banking is something that finance people understand, and the people on the street, and when I say people on the street, that's where I was when I started on Wall Street, would find it impossible to believe. Impossible. Why? Bannon Bank, I give you $1, just one single dollar. In our system of banking, I would say, okay, Steve, I gave you $1. How much could you lend out to your friends? And your natural reaction would be probably something less than $1 because I want to keep something in my pocket. The way our system works is if you as a bank are holding my dollar, you can lend out an additional $8 or $9. No, it's impossible. I only have $1, Jeffrey. We have something called fractionalized reserves, which is if you have 1, you can lend out 9.
This is very basic information, but a lot of people don't know it. That's why I recommend you watch it. And I want to address here, because I see Doomshop said, I'm going to have a tinfoil hat moment here. Epstein was an M-boy setup. He came out of nowhere with all the money. No one knew his true job, and he doesn't have records for the jobs he's done. Doom, I previously would have agreed with you wholeheartedly. I really would have. But what I'm starting to realize here is that, and call me wrong if you think, I don't think that Jeffrey Epstein was necessarily that. I think he probably had connections to intelligence agencies. But the way I'm reading this whole scandal at this point is it reminds me a lot of the Panama Papers. I don't know, dude, when was that? Like 12 years ago? The Panama Papers was a huge scandal where Der Spiegel, the German newspaper, got a documents like cash from someone anonymous. We still don't know who did it, and it revealed all these secret bank accounts across the world, and it implicated people like Shakira in Spain and sheikhs in the Middle East and people in America. And what they were doing was that they were hiding money in Panama to avoid taxes. And what I'm seeing here is that Jeffrey Epstein, in a lot of ways, I'm reading it more as a financial story these days. This is someone who could be like intelligence, that's true. But regardless, beyond like the honeypotting theory and the Whitney Webb, this is such a fascinating take. I think that Jeffrey Epstein might have been a legal and financial genius. And by that, I don't mean like a trader. What I mean is someone who can actually knows where to put money. He knows where to store it. He knows how to go to the letter of the law, cross it slightly. And that's how I see it. This was a guy who was very good at hiding money and very, very good at tax avoidance or even evasion. So while there may have been goals of intelligence agencies, I really think that this is read more as a financial scandal now. Excuse me. And it's not unusual, especially when you consider the Panama Papers, the way that came out. A lot of people think it was just Der Spiegel. One of the main reasons that even came out was because there was an accident with an elderly boat. Like, you know how those boats in Niagara Falls take out people under the falls or whatever? They do some days where it's just old people. And this was in Niagara Falls. This was on the American side, another lake, okay? And one of these boats sank. And when it sank, a bunch of old people died. And one of the people, the owner of the company, tried to cash his insurance because he was getting sued. And the insurance company was a cutout that had been made in Panama to store taxes. So there was no insurance. And this person got screwed, and they had to chase that. And they realized, holy crap, I used this lawyer who never thought this would need to be used. And he set up this insurance company for another client, and he gave it to me. So it's kind of like this really complex fucking financial scandal. That's the way I'm seeing it. Not to go to full Michael Tracy. I'm sure there were like blackmail things maybe involved in this, but as a financial scandal alone, this is fascinating shit. Like, you should be, because at the end of the day, that's what actually matters, is the money. And if you go after that, if they don't let you take it into, he hated the Goyim, he was sleeping with underage girls. He was honeypotting. And you look at it as a financial scandal, you can be like, dude, there are people who should go to jail for 30 years for tax avoidance here, tax evasion. These are people who are doing bad things and they are hiding their money. So I think that's a very more nuanced way of looking at it that could actually get results. By the way, I recommend there's a Soderbergh movie called The Laundromat. I'll write it in here, dude. I think it's still on Netflix. It's very, very good. That deals with the Panama Papers with Gary Oldman. If you're a finance person, you'll really enjoy it. This is the same clip, and the caption is, when Mr. Epstein starts dropping financial ball knowledge, I sit my goyim ass down and listen. That's what I did, dude. I was like, I'm going to sit my Gentile ass down and listen. And here I want to show that I am vindicated. Okay? I am vindicated on this because Jeffrey Epstein, who was clearly smart, as I've said on this show from the beginning, I hate literacy. I hate that people can read. I think reading is bad for society. We should be a little bit more whimsical. And here, Jeffrey Epstein is actually stealing from Rousseau. Rousseau said that people should not learn to read till they're 14, and then they should only read 3 books. And I think Robinson Crusoe was one of them. Okay? Here he is making my case about how we kill society with literacy.
Potentially one of the bad things to teach children is how to write. It's writing, reading, and arithmetic was supposed to be, everyone's supposed to be taught. But writing forces you into a very narrow channel of thinking. You have to write in a certain form, in a certain way, in a certain linear pattern. So your thinking becomes somewhat narrow. The reason I brought up writing is one of the recent discoveries of mine with respect to Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle is they never wrote anything. They spoke, and people around who could write wrote. Socrates could think. So that was...
Jesus of Nazareth was the same way, right? Never wrote anything.
I thought he was a carpenter.
He was a carpenter.
Didn't he need like a little carpenter's tonight? I don't want to get that.
But at least his written record. Right. One last thing.
Sure.
So I want to say I'm vindicated on this. If Jeffrey Epstein agrees, he probably knows. He probably does know, dude. Who knows what this guy's background is? Who knows? It's fascinating stuff. It is fascinating. Now, I think we're moving on here. Yeah. So I have to point out that I'd be remiss to do this. This Epstein story is dividing a lot of people on the right wing. Okay? And the most notable people here are Jake Shields, who I've mentioned before, although I'm not a consumer of his show. I had everything says Epstein was a postmodernist. Dude, I think he literally was doing postmodern finance in a lot of ways. I would be, and you know the crazy thing is, what I'm realizing, and this is why I'm pushing a little bit away from the Mossad connection, if that exists, is that if Jeffrey Epstein literally got to where he was because he figured out how to read the tax code correctly and figure out how far to push it, that means any of you can acquire that skill. It just probably takes like 10 years of dedication, but you can become a go-to guy for this kind of information. Maybe you get your law degree. He did it without one. I think he didn't even have a college degree. This is information that people are willing to pay a lot of money for. So, to get here, Baudrillardian Epstein. Jake Shields, who is leading, I remember when we watched Ezra Klein, he said that Tucker Carlson was the highbrow anti-Semite and Nick Fuentes was the lowbrow anti-Semite, the gutter anti-Semite. I'm not sure if that was true, but what I can tell you for sure is that if we're ranking it, I think that Jake Shields is definitely more in the lower end, you know, very abrasive, very, you know, open about his views on the Jewish people. So it's very abrasive stuff. And he has gotten incredibly angry at Mr. Fuentes, because Mr. Fuentes has, out of character, and I want to see this play out. I'm not, don't gripe me. I want to see how it plays out. Okay? He has shifted his position where he was always talking about Mr. Epstein and how bad he was and how he controlled our government, to kind of embracing the man and saying that you're stupid if you care. And so his detractors are going to be Jake Shields and Sneeko, who are very focused on Epstein. And this could be important, although Jake Shields and Sneeko, I don't think have the clout of Mr. Fuentes or Tucker Carlson. These guys can definitely become ankle biters and be annoying to these people. So let's see here what their reaction is, and then we'll see what Nick has been saying lately about Mr. Epstein.
And I don't like, obviously we're both friends with Nick, and I think the Epstein stuff is funny, but I think overall, not even at him, we got to be careful because like people are saying Epstein has aura. You're mad you weren't invited to this island. It's like, no, man, I'm not going to compromise.
That's the worst take Nick's ever made. I like Nick, but that's an absolutely disgusting take. That him with that sweater is pathetic, bro. It's just so shameful. Like he should apologize. He's pulled it offline. He should be humiliated and embarrassed. He's sitting there saying, "Oh, you're a third worldist on Upscroll. Bitch, you're wearing a fucking Epstein sweater who fucking tortured and killed kids." And I even like Nick, bro, but that's just a shameful moment. He fucked up big time.
I love Nick, and I understand the humor around it and stuff like that. I'm not going to go criticize him.
Yeah, he's trying. He's trying to be edgy, I guess. But it's like, come on, bro. You can't be edgy by wearing something that literally tortured and fucking killed kids.
Yeah.
Hitler's edgy. Hitler's cool. Hitler had aura. Fucking Epstein didn't. Hitler would have fucking thrown all these pedophile pieces of shit in camps.
I mean, obviously Epstein definitely was a charming guy. If he was getting like, what you see?
That's true. No, he was. That's true. That's
especially.
why they used him.
So there we see it. They are angry with Mr. Fuentes for his approach to Epstein, and I don't think it's unusual because we saw the beginnings of this on the Venezuela take that Mr. Fuentes had, where Sneeko and I assume Jake Shields too were probably saying this is all Netanyahu. Netanyahu wants Venezuela to fall into the hands of other people, and this is a fascinating thing to watch because so far we have not seen this fissure have any effects on Nick's castle, but could it possibly? I mean, he definitely outclouts this guy, and this is a guy who, if you talk to Google Gemini about it, dude, the Fuentes wing is, I gotta say, at least between 1 to 7%. Probably not like ballparking it super generously, 20% in terms of influence on the Republican Party. If you have these guys who can detract from that, could hurt him. And they're going back and forth. So here we have his reaction to this, which was this was on Friday. It's a long one, so we're not going to watch the whole thing.
And Jake, I mean, this guy, how many times are we going to have this public blow up? And every time he apologizes, hey, man, I'm sorry. Hey, man, I shouldn't have said that. Hey, I should have talked to you first. Hey, I didn't see this. But people have this resentment towards me. They don't want to fight me. And then they just accidentally let it slip that they got this big fucking problem with me. I love that. So, whatever, bro. I'm just over it. I'm just so over that. Guy that literally worships Hitler. All of them. Worship Hitler. Hitler's the man. I love Hitler. LOL, the Holocaust. Dude, Hitler was a racial supremacist. They really think that Hitler wanted to create like a wholesome Chungus Democrat socialist country. If Hitler had it his way, they would have killed and enslaved millions of people. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? They go, Hitler in their mind, Hitler's like Superman. Like he was an alien that came here to fight for truth, justice, and the American way. He came here to free the Slavs from communism, and he just wanted to destroy pornography. And it's like, no, like he wanted to enslave half of Europe. He wanted to colonize Eastern Europe. He wanted an empire based on racial hierarchy. Hello.
So here we have, and this is really, in American politics in particular, it's interesting where we have this divide where the fissures are going to be Jeffrey Epstein and Mr. Adolf Hitler. And that's what's going to divide the Republican Party. Your takes on Jeffrey Epstein and Hitler. And normally I always go out, dude, this World War II obsession in this country is just, it's mind-numbing. All they talk about is World War II, dude. All they talk about is, it's just, so are we gonna have purity test on who not only likes Hitler but is interpreting Hitler's word in the right way? Listen, man, I think that Fuentes comes out on top here just by sheer followers and all this, but the reality is I don't understand how this is going to play out, especially in these midterms, because we're going to see Nick Fuentes is relying, and I don't know if it's strategized, but I assume it is to an extent, but he's relying on a lot of people, you know, PBD, Candace, whether he has differences or not, they're the ones who can take down Vivek Ramaswamy. They're the ones who can push James Fish back. They are those people. Sneeko is one of these people. And if there's a fissure here, how does that affect this? Because these podcasts, as we've noticed before, they matter. They were important for getting Donald Trump elected. So when we have a fight in this right-wing ecosystem that Nick Fuentes is kind of the head of in a lot of ways, what are the effects on electoral politics? I'm not sure. So it's something to watch. All right. Now let's get to our final bit of Epstein, which we have to go. Let's go to YouTube first so you guys can actually hear it from the horse's mouth. Okay. We have here, this is fascinating stuff where Peter Mandelson, who's the former, hang on, that's the wrong one. He's the former UK ambassador to the United States. Let's watch him here because he had to resign from the House of Lords. And we're going to bring Piers Morgan into this for some Piers Watch.
A year ago, it would have been unthinkable. Peter Mandelson, the Prime Minister's man in America, not just stepping down from that role, but from the Labour Party itself, with which he is so deeply associated. But those who have flown too close to the toxic fires of Jeffrey Epstein have time and again found themselves burned. And now Keir Starmer is calling for the removal of his peerage. The latest release of Epstein files uncovered photos of Mr. Mandelson with no trousers on with an anonymous woman, and also revealed the then Business Secretary and Labour MP leaked sensitive UK government tax plans to the convicted sex offender and advised him to mildly threaten the Treasury over a proposed banker's bonus tax, as well as telling the disgraced financier that he was trying hard to change the policy from within at Epstein's request. The documents also show multiple payments of thousands of pounds from Epstein to the former Labour spin doctor or his husband, one of which was after Epstein's 2008 conviction for soliciting girls as young as 14 for prostitution. In a statement last night, Peter Mandelson said he felt regretful and sorry about the new links to Epstein, adding, "Allegations which I believe to be false that he made financial payments to me 20 years ago and of which I have no record or recollection need investigating by me. While doing this, I do not wish to cause further embarrassment to the Labour Party and I am therefore stepping down from membership of the party." He also repeated a previous apology to the women and girls impacted by Epstein's crimes. This afternoon, the Prime Minister said he thought Mr. Mandelson should be removed from the House of Lords, clearly keen to distance himself after previously giving him a top role.
This is yet another mess that the Prime Minister has got himself into. He had no reason to appoint Peter Mandelson, was warned again and again and again that this man should not be appointed. And all of these allegations that have come out just show that he is someone who is not fit for public office. I think there is a lot that needs to be looked into, including investigating how he ever came to be appointed.
Keir Starmer also commented on another of those disgraced by their link to Epstein, the former Prince Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, who he said should testify to Congress. The late Queen's son, who has consistently and strenuously always denied any wrongdoing, had already lost his title and royal lodge as a result of his friendship with Epstein, but new photos with an anonymised female raise further questions, which those close to the victims say he needs to answer.
I'm so glad that the Prime Minister did what he should have done, which is call on Andrew, formerly known as Prince, to come out and speak to Congress. The clock is ticking, and we're still waiting for his answer.
As for the man who, under pressure, reluctantly ordered the release of the files, his name is mentioned hundreds of times in the latest dump. President Trump has always said he and Epstein stopped talking long before his conviction, and his administration called the newly revealed list of allegations made about him to the FBI unsubstantiated. For his detractors hoping for a smoking gun, the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche put pay to that, saying this release will be the last. Cue the next fierce debate as Democrats call the suspected 2.5 million documents not released unjustified, and the President himself says he has been absolved. But as the now not a prince and the possibly not a lord for much longer will tell you, this story never seems to go away, and those that think they are finally free from accusations may never stop looking over their shoulder.
So, and I see Afra here ask a good question. It says, what if, I think it was Kyle Kalinske who said he might have been the shadow president of the world. What do you think from the evidence? I have to say, even further than shadow president, these allegations, this is why I think this is what's worth focusing on with Peter Mandelson, is that Jeffrey Epstein was a bank. He was a bank. If Peter Mandelson of the House of Lords is asking Jeffrey Epstein to pressure the English Treasury, and this, if you read more into it, this was after 2008 when Greece was teetering. They were trying to bankrupt Greece, and he was using Jeffrey Epstein to do this because the photos may be damning. Where are the photos here? But I have to remind you, Peter Mandelson is a homosexual. He's gay. So I don't know if this, I'm not saying gay people can't have sex with underage women. I'm sure that has happened before, but it makes it very unique, the case. This is very odd, where more important than, not more important, but actually kind of, dude, than the alleged underage girls, Jeffrey Epstein was used and paid by someone of the House of Lords to steer the financial crisis in a way that was beneficial to that person. That is, you should be in prison for that. You are using a private citizen who did not have English citizenship, as far as I'm aware, in order to pressure your treasury into making favorable policies for you. That isn't even illegal. That's treason. That's straight up treason. That is treasonous behavior. You're using someone's money and influence in order to change things for you. And let's do our title card because we got some peers watching.
Hang on, no, hang on, hang on, no, hang on, no, hang on, hang on, no, hang on. No, sorry. I hear you and I accept that, and we'll leave it there. Thank you all very much. Say the M word, go on.
Here we have Piers, who is not letting up, man. He's not letting up. He is, and I didn't expect this from him previously. We can see here, he tweeted this. This was on the 1st. It's long overdue time that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and Peter Mandelson submitted themselves to being properly interrogated under oath by the Epstein investigating authorities, with an unflattering picture of the two. And today he said, Peter Mandelson is a sniveling little traitor. As I said, that's treason, who betrayed his country, his government, his colleagues, and the British people to a convicted pedophile who gave him pounds. Hard to imagine a more sickening scandal. He should be prosecuted and jailed. And you know what? Let's do this here. Let's go to Google Gemini and ask it exactly in layman's terms what Peter Mandelson did to Greece with Jeffrey Epstein. According to the latest Epstein file dump, what did Peter Mandelson and Jeffrey do to the British Treasury and Greece? In layman's terms and one paragraph. Let's see if it'll do it. According to the latest document releases from February 2026, Peter Mandelson is accused of using his position as senior UK cabinet minister to leak sensitive market-moving information to Jeffrey Epstein. Specifically, the file suggests Mandelson sent Epstein a confidential treasury briefing in 2009 regarding the potential sale of $20 billion in state assets, and allegedly tipped him off early about a $500 billion EU bailout designed to save the euro during the Greek debt crisis. Furthermore, emails appear to show Mandelson lobbying the Treasury to water down a super tax on bankers' bonuses at Epstein's request, even suggesting that the head of JP Morgan should mildly threaten the UK Chancellor to get his way. This is treason, dude. This is straight up treason. This is one of the highest crimes that I have ever seen. And what this makes me wonder here is, dude, come on. Maybe if you're not, this is treasonous behavior, dude. The world economy is in full collapse, and you're leaking memos to a private citizen to pressure your government and have him make money for you and off of you in regards to how Greece is going to get fucked. That's insane. That's insane. That is the stuff that should actually make your blood boil. All right. I don't advocate anger, but this is what actually matters. All right. And Piers, who I thought was ingratiated with this class, and he is in a lot of ways, is not letting up on this, because he led the weekend with this. He interviewed Brett Ratner, who was the director of Melania. Let's see here. They talk about Melania, and then they get to the actual photos that came out of him with Epstein. This is a great clip to watch, because you would not expect Piers to go this hard into the social class he belongs to. So let's watch here. And I see Mr. Elu's mentioning Noam Chomsky. Dude, it's fascinating to see Noam Chomsky's emails, as well as Epstein's position and the Venezuelan opposition, who I've always hated, and any true Venezuelan hates the opposition more than the government. We're deeply involved with this guy. Let's see here interviewing Brett Ratner, who was previously accused of sexual misconduct in Hollywood.
To be made, because I said to her, why, I'm not a documentary filmmaker. I've never made a documentary. And she's like, that's exactly why I want you, because you make movies for the big screen. So with that in mind, knowing that Amazon had purchased MGM, and yeah, it's fantastic that we had a great, fantastic box office. But at the end of the day, the world is going to see this streaming globally, and we want the biggest audience to see this movie. So will it make money? I don't know how the economics within Amazon works, but I know if a lot of people around the world watch it, it will be successful.
Piers, just to jump on the record real quickly, I remember the day that Melania and I had the conversation. Melania came up with the creative concept. I am the only one that negotiated this deal on her behalf. Any interaction that had died way into hidden available to be releasing, and then
to me,
you elements. The film correct will unpack, will carry through over the next 3 years.
So to correct all of the,
you know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like to me you guys in real time are gaming the negotiations for Melania the sequel. Brett, I want to just switch gears quickly to the very serious and big stories in the news, the Epstein files. As you know, a picture came out of you with Jeffrey Epstein with two apparently young women in it. What is your response to that picture? And what is your response to the wider scandal of the Epstein files?
Oh, well, that picture in particular happened around 20 years ago, 19, 20 to 21 years ago, because that is a photograph of my fiance who invited me to this event, and that's where the picture was taken. I was never been in contact with Jeffrey Epstein before that photo, and I was never in contact with him after. So that's a picture of me and my fiance at some event.
Wow. So who was the fiance, if you don't mind me asking?
She doesn't want me sharing her name in the case, but that's my fiance, 100%. Was my fiance.
But you're not still.
I'm not.
I was going to say you're not still with that.
No.
He's not engaged. Yeah. It's the world's longest engagement.
No,
20 years.
20 years ago, I was engaged to her when that photo was taken.
Right.
Yes.
And your position is you never met Epstein before or after that picture, that night.
No, never.
What is your opinion of the Epstein file scandal? As this more and more stuff cascades out, more and more people, very high profile people, are dragged in. What is your view of this?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's horrible. You see, I've been somehow sucked in, through an image. So there's so many stories about so many different people. It's hard to really follow and track what's truth and what's not truth. You could see where one photograph kind of puts me, there with him, and then all the stories start to spin out. So I don't really know, because I didn't know him. It wasn't really my world. It's not really my world.
Piers, I could tell you, and I'm not sitting here as his defense attorney. I can tell you that this guy has been in the trenches, making the film, promoting the film, and what's been top of mind for him has been building this #1 highest opening for Melania. And I think that, as far as that topic goes, I could understand why he might not have a bigger point of view.
You know what? I put the question to you about the picture. You've given a pretty emphatic answer. We'll leave it there. Brett.
Okay, so what's important here, in my view, is that, again, this is what these files have done, is that now Piers can needle anyone on these pictures, because Piers has a picture with Ghislaine Maxwell, I do believe. And he was in these files, but Piers is not laying off here. And this goes back to like his Gumshoe Reporter days. This is the kind of guy who says, it's not my fault that you're having a scandal. I'm going to report on it anyway. And him calling out Peter Mandelson, Brett Ratner, and again, what I would emphasize is Brett Ratner lying? I see some people in the chat saying he lied. Do we know that? Can we prove that in a court of law? Do we have any idea? We can assume that Brett Ratner, by circumstantial evidence, maybe it is, because he has sexual assault allegations, all right? Maybe it isn't either. The more important thing, though, is that you can project anything you want onto these files. And people like Piers Morgan, doing their job, are going to allow you to do that. And they are going to, whether it's settling scores, whether it's just troublemaking or money making, they're going to use this to drive you nuts, dude. I'm a huge Brett Ratner fan, dude. I love the Rush Hour movies. I loved Tower Heist. I saw that as a kid. It's a great movie. What are the other Brett Ratner movies? Let's look up the Brett Ratner movies. What are they? Brett Ratner. I like the Brett Ratner movies. I didn't watch Melania yet. Let's see. He did fucking X-Men: The Last Stand, Money Talks, Red Dragon. That's a great one. I like him. I like Brett Ratner. And so now you can project onto it whatever you want. So I would say to stay sane in these times, dude, is recognize the Baudrillardian tools that are being used to get you invested in this. And recognize also that Piers is at least saying something which is true, which is that you should be focused on Peter Mandelson. Prince Andrew, I don't know how important that is. Dude, if Peter Mandelson, who was the ambassador of the United States, was making money with this guy by screwing over Europe and his own country's treasury, he should be under the prison. But now you can do whatever you want with this stuff, man. It's insane how this goes. And everything says, dude looks shook due to Ratner. I'm sure he did not want this question. Ratner's been through the ringer with this stuff. He went and moved to Israel after he got accused. My producer has met him in the past. Says he's a nice guy from the times he's met him in LA. Doesn't really have an opinion on what he did or anything. He had a good reputation in Hollywood. But now this is going to haunt him forever. Effer says, from what I get from this is either that they will escape the U.S. like Jay-Z allegedly did, or they will enforce their will against the normal people. No wonder Palantir exists. I think even escaping the U.S. is not exactly the importance. Effer, I don't think anyone's going to go to jail for this. They have not released anything that would send someone to jail. It's all hearsay. It's all salacious crap, because that's what people focused on. Blame the people who focused on this. Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, Sean Ryan. I want to know how big it was when it went inside the 12-year-old girl. I want to know about the financial stuff first. That's the more interesting stuff here. I want to know about that. I want to know high finance. What's going on here? I want to know about that. That is the stuff you can send people to jail over. The other stuff is 2 decades old. But, that's how it goes. So that's Epstein for now, dude. But we have to keep covering this because I think it's going to be a developing story and it's going to affect the politics of the United States in time to come. With that, everyone, let's, since it's Black History Month, bro, and we did Marvin Gaye today, let's play the title card one more time.
You have to think, young brother, about your future.
Take it from me, someday we'll all be free.
We have our Black person of the day, Marvin Gaye. Let's watch a little Marvin Gaye before we get out here. Live. I want to hear. Wait, what is it? I used to go out to party. What's going on? Here we go. Let's listen to some Marvin Gaye. Before that, Efra says, Mr. Elu has a great point. Mr. Elu says, the U.S. is the only place that there's been no consequences. That's true. That is true. That is true. And I doubt there will be, because even these consequences are self-imposed. Mandelson is not getting any judicial consequences. Who's gone to jail over this yet? Besides Ghislaine. Who's gone to jail over it? Let's watch a little Marvin Gaye.
1, 2, 3, 4. Mother, mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother, 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 there's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Here today, yeah. Father, Father, we don't need to escalate.
Marvin Gaye's not in the Epstein files, dude. Marvin Gaye's not in them. Marvin Gaye's not in them. Play that. Let's play it more.
You know we've got to find a way to bring some love in. Oh, yeah, yeah. Take it lights, take it sight. Punish me with brutality. Talk to me, honey.
The greatest, dude. Marvin, bro. Here, My Dear, great album. I had everything since Epstein was definitely playing this on the. Oh, come. Let's hope not. Let's hope not. The Ecology, another great one. Happy Black History Month, everyone. Let me do the plugs, dude. Happy Black History Month. Listen to some Marvin Gaye, bro. One of the greatest to ever do it. Brother, brother, brother. There's far too many of you dying. Such a great one, man. All right. So here we have the Discord, which I'm catching up on after the show, guys. Sorry I haven't been there, which is completely free, except there's a paid tier too. We have the Patreon, which is $520 a month, where we have Eves in there and audio vibes. I appreciate that. We also have the YouTube membership, which is $2 or $10 a month. $10 a month gets you the King Leo Movie Club, which is on here for $5. So why not sign up on Patreon? And we have What Would a Postmodernist Do bracelet. Get in the Discord, dude. Get in the Discord. We're having fun in there. Happy Black History Month. Yeah, these black people, man, they did some cool shit, huh? These black people. Marvin Gaye. I love the old soul stuff, dude. The funk stuff is great too. I've wanted to go to the African American History Museum because I want to see the funk machine. They have the actual UFO. God, bro, those blacks, they can really jam, bro. The black Americans can jam. I love their stuff, dude. It's so good. It's so good. I don't love all the new stuff. You know, I'm a Denzel Curry fan, not a Kendrick Lamar fan. Like A Tribe Called Quest, Wu-Tang till like die. You know, we love Wu-Tang. But you know, these black Americans, man, that's what that kente cloth is for, bro. These guys with the music, with the food, with the water guns, with the peanut stuff. I love you black people. I love the black people. That's why we do Black History Month. For any white people that may be angry, we'll do White History Month if you want to do that. But I prefer Heritage Month. So like Polish or something like that, we'll do that. So, you know, Malcolm X is doing. Malcolm X, one of the greatest to ever do it. I'm a huge Malcolm fan, man. These black people, man, they did some great stuff. They still do some great stuff, man. Kanye West, Marvin Gaye, you know, great stuff, man. Great stuff. August Wilson, amazing writer, amazing. The best dialogue you'll ever read, August Wilson. That's a real play. The Fences, I didn't like the Denzel version. James Earl Jones was better, but we don't have that recorded, unfortunately. God, Black people did some cool stuff. And that's why we honor Black people on the King Leo show. We're here. Let's end the show with a little kanging. I can kang a little bit here for on behalf of Black people. You know, we was kangs. We built the pyramids. You know, we built America. You know, for the Black people out there, respect. Huge fan. Great stuff. Efra says it's often the people who are limited resources who create the art and philosophy, then other people try to be sophisticated and embrace. Absolutely. Where would we be without Motown? Without Ray Charles? Where would we be without Ray Charles? Where would we be without it? We would be fucked. What's the Ray Charles the Georgia song? What was the other one? I should know this because he's from Florida. The Florida guy. What's that song called? The one that he sang for the other guy. Fuck, dude. Ray Charles. What's that song called, man? I love Ray Charles. We might do Ray Charles tomorrow, but I don't want to make it all music. Hit the road, Jack. That's a great one. What else we got? Bro, he like his first song. Georgia on my mind. Nah, man. The Black people, hats off to you for this month. I appreciate Black people. I appreciate white people. I appreciate the Hispanic people, the Arab people, the Chinese people, the Japanese people, the non-Black American Black people in Africa and the Caribbean. I appreciate everyone here. Great stuff, man. Go listen to some of that. Bro, but what is this Ray Charles song called, man? It's fucking good. Ray Charles song. Verse? What's it called? It's a fucking good song, man. It's a good song. The Mess Around. The Mess Around. The Mess Around. Yeah, we probably won't get to Ray Charles because let's listen to some of the Mess Around. Bro, this is great stuff, bro. You got to get into this stuff. This is great.
You can talk about the pit, barbecue, the band was jumping, the people too, mess around.
Do you know he was blind? So I didn't realize this till last year, actually. He couldn't read sheet music. So he had to use, I didn't know this existed, Braille sheet music and memorization. Ray Charles was a genius. He was a genius. No one else can do this. I mean, like Hispanics, we have Jose Feliciano, but that was guitar. He was doing it with the piano. He got glaucoma as a kid and became the greatest to ever do it on the piano. It's fucking crazy. The Jamie Foxx movie is good. I do like that one. It's a good one. And that's what we do on this show, dude. A little inclusion. Like, why can't you appreciate Joseph Sebastian Bach and then some Ray Charles? I mean, just listen to this stuff. Everyone's got something. Everyone has got something. The blacks have something, the whites, the Hispanics, the Chinese, happy Black History Month, everyone. I'm very glad to be here. And I hope you got some value out of this. Thank you for tuning in. Ephra, Mr. Elu, Eves, Audio Vibes, Doom Shop. Who else we got here? We had War Hat in here. Yeah. We'll be back tomorrow, and hopefully we have some great stuff to get into. All right, guys. I will see you tomorrow. Get in the Discord. Become a member. Like, comment, and subscribe. That's completely free. If you're new, subscribe. Like. That's completely free. See you guys then.
Change the world. My final message. Goodbye. Change the world. My final message. Goodbye. the world. My final message. Goodbye. Change the world. My final message. Goodbye.